Hello, welcome to Late Night Creations. Today is the Look for Less challenge. I have 3 looks for less. I'll tell you more about the challenge during the video. The first DIY is this sign I saw on the Kirkland's website, and they wanted $49.99 for this. Oh, we know we can make it for less than that. So I picked up this sign at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use the back side of it, but we're going to cover that front side with some paper. So we're just going to give this back side a good coat of white chalk paint. Actually, I did 2 coats, but I'm only showing you one, and I'm not real sure why I showed you me painting the whole thing. But anyway, I gave this back side 2 good coats of white chalk paint by Rust-Oleum in the color Linen. And I like to finish out the backs, so on the back side I just covered it with that brown like packing paper, like you would wrap a package if you were going to mail it. So that finishes off the back and makes it look nice. I dry it with my heat tool, give it a second coat, then I divide it as evenly as I can and then draw the lines on there and kind of smudge it to make it look a little bit like shiplap. Then I made this decal on my Cricut. Now, if you don't have a Cricut, you can use other kinds of stencils. This is not a decal. I'm sorry. It's a stencil. So I made this stencil on my Cricut. And you can find stencils at Dollar Tree, at Walmart. You can use stickers. You can use your own handwriting. There's all different ways that you can do lettering on signs. I just chose to do this. So I'm going to use different colors of the different words to try to make it look like the sign that was on the Kirkland's website. So I mixed my own color of blue paint because I didn't think ocean was dark enough, and the navy was a little too dark, I think. So I mixed it. I'm going to use some crimson by Waverly and the aged gray by Rust-Oleum. And I'm going to use these makeup sponges. Bargain Bethany turned me onto that long years ago when I first started watching her to paint with the makeup sponges. They work great, especially when you're stenciling. So I'm going to use this. Maybe I am using the navy by itself. Yep, sure am. So you just pounce, 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 dab, dab, dab. And you can do 2 coats if you need to, if you don't get it on there. This paint was a little bit thin, and I did 2 coats of it on there. And then I did the gray on the stars, and I'm going to do gray on Freedom as well. And I'm going to do Family in red. I'm not sure if I get all that on video. Sometimes I skip some of the painting because it's pretty straightforward and simple. Nope, I'm going to show you how to paint the word family. Just dab, 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 dab on your stencil. If you choose to use stencils to do this, and it was kind of challenging to decide where to put those lines and to line all of this up. So yeah, it might be easier to just free hand it, but I wanted it to look pretty much like the sign from Kirkland's because it is the Look for Less, so you want it to look as close as possible when you want to copy that, if you want it to look like the stores. So my fonts are not exactly the same, but it is the Look for Less. So I'm crossing my fingers when I take this stencil off that it works out good. And it does. It does peel off that white chalk paint a little bit, but I can go back in and touch that up without a problem. I do find with the Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint, that happens to me a lot. Not necessarily with other paints, but with that white, it happens to me a lot. But it's really not a problem. I just go back in with my white and touch it up. And I've got these white paint pens that I'm going to use, and I end up using the Sharpie. It was given to me by someone, so I have no idea where it came from. The other ones I got on Amazon, but where that navy blue bled, I'm going to use it. Oh, and the red, I guess, the red too. I'm going to use it to touch up instead of using a paintbrush. It worked like a charm, and it has a very fine tip. Those other 2 paint pens the tips are kind of fat. And you can see that I've touched it, all of it up, and it turned out really nice and crisp. And I touched that up. It's still a little bit wet. Looks good. Thumbs up. I'm going to reattach the little twine hanger that came with it. I love that those have the little plastic tabs on there and you can reattach them. And here is the final product. So did we get the Look for Less? Yes. The Look for Less challenge is hosted by Yami, the Latina next door. She is an amazing creator, DIYer. Go check out her channel. I'll have it linked in the description box below, as well as the playlist. Be sure you check it out and see what everybody has created. Kirkland's has this cute decor piece for $99.99. That's ridiculous. We can make it for less. So this is a large piece of wood that came off of an old swing set that fell apart in our yard. So I had my husband save all the pieces, and guess what? We're DIYing with it. So I sanded it all down and filled in the cracks with some wood filler, and that some of the cracks were pretty big, so I puttied them up pretty good. And I'm not real sure, maybe you can leave a comment below to tell me why my wood filler cracks. Maybe it was because I used too much, but it shrank in there and left, it cracked. But maybe you can tell me what I did wrong. So now I'm going to drill holes in there to put our fuse in, and I'm going to give all 3 of those wood pieces 2 coats of this white chalk paint by Rust-Oleum in the color linen. It's called linen. I call it white, but it's linen. And then I taped off the tops of them with some masking tape. You could use painter's tape, whatever you have. And I'm painting it in navy by Apple Barrel. I love this paint. I love this color. I love navy. I love all things blue. And now I'm painting the bottom, not the top. So I end up having to drill another hole in there. If you hang around with me long enough, you'll see that I just haphazardly do things sometimes, and I have to go back and redo or fix my mistakes. So now we're going to peel the tape off, have some nice clean lines, but for some reason this white chalk paint peels up with the tape or the stencils or whatever, like I mentioned earlier. So we just touch it up and it's no problem. Now I'm going to use my painter's tape, and we're going to create those stripes, those red and white stripes that are up and down, vertical. And see that crack? You could see it right before I put that tape on. If you didn't see it, back up and look at it, because that's where my, I wanted to say wood filler cracked. But it's okay because I just kind of filled it in with a little paint and it turned out okay. So now I'm going to take my Crimson by Waverly and just paint in between there. Now, if you can see what I'm doing, I did not tape off the top up there, and you're going to see when I realize that what I did. So I'm going to do 2 coats of the red as well. Right there, I realized I did not tape that off. So I'm trying to wipe that paint off. I think because it was blue and my painter's tape was blue, I didn't realize that I didn't tape it off. I didn't need to tape it off. I don't know. I'm such a ding-dong sometimes. So anyway, it's okay, because guess what? We just go back and we put some blue paint on it, and nobody knows the difference when you're done, unless you've watched this video. So anyway, now I put the tape on there, and it's going to be okay. Yeah, I do that. I do that a lot. I do like ding-dong stuff a lot because I am blonde. I do color my hair blonde, but I am blonde. Blonde all the way. So here we go. Not sure why I'm struggling there with that, but I'm going to do... Now, I said I did 2 coats, but I think I did 1 good coat. And then I just kind of go back and touch up where I feel like it needs maybe a second coat on just parts of it, if it needs it. Now, I'm kind of... Can you see how I'm going across that tape? I don't know. I feel like it doesn't bleed as bad when you do that. And then I would just lightly went down in the center. But you do however it works for you when you paint across the tape. So I'm going to reuse this Dollar Tree painter's tape because I don't want to, waste any money because I'm trying to do this look for less. And you can see that white. Can you see that white paint up on the top of that blue? And you can see the pieces over to the right, the top blue parts have some of that on there too. I think you see that white on my table, on the paper on my table. I think it just kind of acted like chalk and got on there. I don't know, but I go back and touch it up and it came off really easily. So that wasn't a problem, but I need to start with a clean surface every time so that doesn't happen. After I painted the white, I should have gotten a clean surface. So here we go, peeling it off. You can see a little bit of that white paint peeled off with the painter's tape, but it's okay. We just go back and touch up. Not a problem. See, there's that crack I was telling you about. So when I touched up, I filled in that crack with a little bit of white paint, and it looks fine. I'm totally happy with how it turned out. Okay, so now I made a decal with my Cricut, and you could use stickers from the Dollar Tree or Hobby Lobby or Walmart. And I'm not showing you how I do all this because it's the same step and the same procedure with all of it. Now I'm doing the stars with my tweezers because I don't know why. I just wanted to. And so I just wanted to place them where I wanted them. I don't know why. I do the things I do sometimes. And so I'm going to put these big stars on the sides, like the ones in the picture of the ones from Kirkland's. And then I'm taking this jute twine that's wired that I got at Dollar Tree. And you know that jute comes away from the wire. And so I just like to hot glue it down to it. I just put a little hot glue on there and twist and pinch it. And it stays on pretty good once you do that. So I use my little silicone fingers that you get at Dollar Tree. Then I'm going to fill that little hole that I had to drill again because, I painted the wrong end. And then I have a little fuse, and they turned out so cute. So did we get the look for less? Yes. Our last DIY was on Amazon for $20.99. We can make it cheaper. So I found these at Dollar Tree for $1.25, and I just cut it down into 3 pieces, and then I had a little piece of scrap wood. So I'm going to paint these red, white, and blue, and you don't have to see me paint all of them because you know how to paint. So red, one white, one blue. And I really am enjoying doing all this patriotic stuff because I was raised in a very patriotic family. So then I'm going to make this little flag. I'm just using some little vinyl strips that I had scraps. You could use painter's tape, you could use masking tape, and I just taped it off and then painted it red, then taped it off, painted it blue, and I didn't show you that I put some little white stars that I cut with my Cricut out of white vinyl. I don't know why I lost that footage. And then I lost some other footage too. I don't know what happened to it. But I used this stencil and stenciled this one white. And it's the same procedure for all 3 little blocks. But, just use the stencil it on, and then take all that off. And I did that for all 3 of them. I do not know what happened to the footage, but like I said, it's the same for all 3 of them, just different colors. And then I'm taking a little sanding block and I'm just sanding it down to make it look a little bit old and rustic. Then just gluing the 3 pieces together. This was the easiest thing. If you love to paint, it was just the easiest thing ever. Did we make this look for less? Yes. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe and leave me a comment which was your favorite.